Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. Today is going to be part 2 of a video I did last week. I was at our local Goodwill and I walked up to the record collection of where they had the records, and some guy stopped me and goes, "Aren't you that cheap and cheerful guy?" So if you didn't see the video, I ended up going back to his house the next day. I bought like 8 or 9 records from him, and that was great. And I got home and I called him up again. I said, "You know what? You have a couple of boxes of records you're looking to sell. I'll take everything." So I went back to his house. I bought 130 records from him. The reason I bought so many, even though I don't really need them all, is that in November, I'm going to be taking a table at a local record show here in Portland. I've never done that before, so it'll be my first time at the show. And there's a little flyer for it. So it's going to be Sunday, November 24th, which is the Sunday right before Thanksgiving, right here in Portland, Maine, at the Fireside Inn. So if you're on Riverside Street, if you're around at that time, we'd love to see you there. So yeah, that's my first time having a table at a record show. So I've been trying to collect enough records to make it worth my while. Out of that 130 records, these are the ones I'm keeping. So I thought I'd show you those first. The first one I'm keeping, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. So I got these records for a couple of bucks each. First record I found, Jerry Mulligan, Night Lights. This is an original white label mono pressing. Extremely hard to find, in really nice condition. Discog medium on this is $200. It's just ridiculous. So as soon as I got that, I knew everything else was all gravy. But yeah, this is a beautiful album. I have the new, I think it is a new repress on this that came out last year. Sounds beautiful. But that white label promo is just so cool. So yeah, Jerry Mulligan, Night Lights, just a beautiful, beautiful album with Jim Hall on guitar, Art Farmer on trumpet, Bob Buckmeyer on trombone. Great, great album. I don't know the date on it. I'm thinking the late 60s. But beautiful promo, not for sale. Hard to find that one. Another one, I'm not a huge fan of this guy. Some of the stuff is a little bit too far out for me. But it's in such nice shape that I think I'm going to keep this one. It's Ornette Coleman. And this is his album, Ornette at 12. With Charlie Hayden, Dewey Redman, and Ornette Denadro on drums, who I don't know. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to dig into this yet. But yeah, Ornette Coleman. It's on Impulse. Looking for a date. Why would they put a date on? Why make life easy? 1969. Ornette Coleman. I have the first one of this, so this is the second one, and it's More Blues and the Abstract Truth with Oliver Nelson arranging the band. The first one is fantastic. I haven't heard this one yet, so I don't know. Grady Tate, Thad Jones, Phil Woods, Ben Webster. I'm sure it's great, so I haven't had a chance to dig into this yet, but really nice. This guy I never heard of before, but again, I just like the look of it, and I played it the other day. Pretty nice. Bill Harris. It's all solo acoustic guitar playing jazz standards. Stomping at the Savoy, Moonglow, Cherokee, Perdido, I Can't Get Started. Really nice. On MRC label. Really nice jazz guitar. The Jazz Tet at Birdhouse, featuring Art Farmer and Benny Golson. Also with Thomas McIntosh on trombone, Cedar Walton on piano. On Argo, the Argo label. Most of these jazz albums most of these are original mono pressings. The condition ranges from unlistenable to nearly mint. So, like everything else, when you buy used records, you never know what you're getting until you get it home. Case in point, here's a Kenny Burrell album called The Tender Gender. recorded in New York, 1966, with Richard Waynes on piano, Martin Rivera on bass, Oliver Jackson on drums. I took this out of the sleeve to look at it, and it looks terrible. I mean, it looks so much, not scratches, but buffs and also it just looked terrible. Plays like no problem at all. Plays really nice on the Cadet label. I'm a big jazz guitar fan, so whenever I see stuff by Kenny Burrell, I always grab stuff like that. And that other guy who I never heard of, Bill Harris, always give a chance on that. This is a nice, I listened to this the other day, sounds nice. A little mellow, but it's very good. Kenny Burrell. I don't know how many people you know this guy. He's from Africa, Dollar Brand. Really nice album. This is African Space Program. Again, a little out there for me. I'm not that into that free jazz on NJ Records, but still very listenable. Recorded November 7th, 1973. So yeah, so these are the ones that I'm keeping, and I have another 100 and so on in the other room that I'm going to sell. This one's interesting. This one they recently put a reissue out on. This is an original. Lee Konitz plays the Jerry Mulligan Quartet on World Pacific Records from 1960, I think it is. There's the World Pacific label. And what's interesting is that, you know, this is an original mono pressing. So I checked it out on Discogs, and it's like a $14, $15 record, which is fine. But then I said to myself, I wonder what they're charging for the Tone Poet, because this came out as a Tone Poet like years ago. And most Tone Poets, as you know, go for $30, $35, $40. Sometimes they go a lot more if it's hard to find. So I looked this one up on Discogs, and the Tone Poet's going for $15. I've never seen a Tone Poet going so cheap. There were like 50 of them for sale, starting at $15. Really nice album. I love Lee Konitz and Jerry Mulligan, of course, too. Here's a repress of another great record. This one also was re-released by Blue Note about a year or two ago. I never picked it up. I wanted it, so I'm glad I got this one. This is not an original. It's a later repress, but it's McCoy Tyner, the real McCoy. And this one has Joe Henderson on tenor sax, Ron Carter on bass, Elvin Jones on drums, and of course McCoy Tyner on piano. And this is on the later Blue Note Blue label. So not an original, but really glad to have it in my collection. Like I said, I was thinking of buying the repress. I've never gotten around to it, and turned out that's okay. How about Stan Getz meets Chet Baker on the Verve label. Mono pressing. Don't have a date on it. With Stan Getz, and this is a compilation of a couple of 10-inch records they had put out. So one side has Stan Getz and Chet Baker. The other side has Stan Getz, Chet Baker, with Jody Christian on piano, Victor Sproles on bass, and Marshall Thompson on drums. So I think there were originally two 10-inch records they put out, and they put them out. They re-released it as a single 12-inch record. But anytime I see Chet Baker and Stan Getz, can't let it sit there. Now a little more on the bluesy side. How about Champion Jack Dupree? Really like his piano playing. Natural and Soulful Blues. Champion Jack's Natural and Soulful Blues on Atlantic. Played this the other day. This is right up my alley. And interesting, this was date on this 1960. The guitar player is Alex Corner, which is the Alex Corner Blues Project. That's sort of cool. Jack Fallon on bass, and Champion Jack Dupree on piano and vocals. Real barrel house rolling style piano, and great singing, very bluesy. My kind of stuff for sure. Champion Jack Dupree. Then he had two Miles Davis albums, so I had to grab these. I have a lot of Miles. I didn't have these two. First one is Miles Smiles, the quintet. And the other one is Friday Night, Miles Davis in Person at the Black Hawk. It's a repress on the Columbia, that brown label Columbia. So really nice condition, and happy to add more Miles to my collection, always. This one I know nothing about. This is another compilation of a couple of different albums put together. It's just called Jazz. And it has Harold Land, Blue Mitchell. That's really why I took it and decided to keep it, is that it has Harold Land and Blue Mitchell on it. On the mainstream label. So this one is okay. I haven't decided yet really if I'm going to keep it. I'm going to listen to it a couple more times. I have till November to decide if I'm going to sell it to show, so I'm going to check that out a couple more times. His classic, The Great Cannibal Adderley Sextet. And this is his album, Jazz Workshop Revisited. He had 2 copies of this, a mono and a stereo. The mono is not great. The stereo is much cleaner. So I'm going to keep this one on Riverside with Cannibal Adderley, Nat Adderley, Husef Latif, Joe Zwinali, Sam Jones, and Lou Hayes on drums on the Black Riverside label. So the idea is if I can sell enough at the show in November, these will all be actually free for me. And that's what I'm not trying to make money, just trying to get records for free. There's another one I haven't heard yet, Stanley Turrentine, Don't Mess with Mr. T on CTI. There's the gatefold. So I assume this is the 70s. Yeah. It was a big band, so I'm not sure if I'm going to dig it or not. Not really into that big band stuff, but we'll see. Stanley Turrentine. And then a couple of blues albums. This one I couldn't pass up. Never saw this before. Thought I knew it all. I know nothing. Super Black Blues with T-Bone Walker, Joe Turner, and Otis Spann, along with George Harmonica Smith, Paul Humphrey, Ernie Watts, Arthur Wright, and Ron Brown. Played this the other day. It is absolutely fantastic. There's only 4 songs on this album. Side 1 has Paris Blues, which is 14 minutes long. And so the second song is Here I Am Broken Hearted, 3 minutes and 45 seconds. The second side, Jots Blues, 8 minutes and 11 seconds. And the second song, Blues Jam, 10 minutes and 56 seconds. So really just 4 songs with Joe Turner on vocals, like I said, T-Bone Walker, vocal and piano and guitar, and Otis Spann on piano and vocals as well. Never saw this before. This is on Flying Dutchman Blues Time label. If you watch my channel, you know I'm a blues freak, so really happy to pick this one up. Big Joe Turner fan, and I'm lucky enough to have seen him at the 1970 Ann Arbor Blues Festival. Yeah, Big Joe Turner. This one I was like, about. I played it. I absolutely love this record now. Lowell Fulsom, Lovemaker. What a great, great album. On Big Town Records, recorded February 1978 for that great label. Big Town Records. Recorded 1978, like I said. Doesn't say who's in the band with him. Doesn't matter. He's fantastic. When Things Go Wrong, I'm Not Worried, Love Worth a Feeling, etc. Great, great album. Really. Much better than I expected. And I got another jazz album, a blues album, sorry. The great female vocalist, Etta James. And her album, Stickin' to My Guns. This one sounds like it's never been played. It's virtually new on Island Records. Great, great album. Really happy to grab this one and add it to my collection. And the last 2 are 2 10-inch records I got. First one is more folk blues, but it's Josh White and his album Ballads and Blues on Decca. The old Decca label. And there's some scratches and it's not in great condition, but I love me some folk blues. And the other one I got, sorry I keep bending out of the way there. Last one I got, one of my favorites, Sonny Terry, harmonica and vocal solo. So I haven't listened to this yet, but it's just him. This is a repress. I think it first came out like 52. This is like a 1960s repress on the Blue Folkways label. But nice 10-inch. Does Karina, harmonica stomp, Lost John. Anyway, nice 10-inch Sonny Terry. So that's what I'm keeping. I'm going to be selling the rest of them, the 100 and some odd albums I got. I've been sort of building up a collection of stuff to sell at the record show. So once more, it's a record show of Maine on November 24th. If you're in the area or anywhere near, I highly recommend you stop by and bring cash and buy some records. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to get a couple more subscribers. And until next time, peace.